Do you know people who are homosexual? Do you know anybody who's married to their partner? They like that?
Yeah.
You do? Do you know any famous people that are married to the partner? Yeah. Who?
Trying to think of his name. I can see his face.
Is it Ellen DeGeneres? Is that how you say her name?
DeGeneres. Yeah, she's not married anymore. I don't think. I think she's single right now. I'm not for sure though.
Oh,
But she was married.
Did she? Yeah, because
She
I
was married.
remember walking through a doctor's
And he-
office
Yeah.
and her just rejoicing over this
Yeah.
marriage that she had. Do you have trouble relating to homosexuals at all? Is it uncomfortable, or you feel like, what, if they don't think I'm attractive?
It's a little weird.
It's a little
I've been hit on by
Yeah.
gay men before. It's a little weird.
I remember, obviously we have to have a good attitude and love them, and hate the sin, but love the sinner, and realize that there are lots of ways people sin, and although some may be more repulsive than others, keep everything in perspective. But I remember one time helping a friend of mine do some painting in a house. And so we go into this house, brand new environment for me. I just came in. He had already been working there, and he kind of whispered to me in the foyer. He says, I think this guy's homosexual. And I said, okay. So I said, well, what's his name, just in case? Well, he told me, he was an Episcopal priest. So that's what was so significant about it. He was an Episcopal priest, and he thought that he was homosexual. And I asked him, I said, well, what's his name, just in case, I ever see him in the newspaper or something. And so he told me his name. And I went up later into his bedroom, because I was up there upstairs doing some painting, and I noticed some videotapes. One of them was a videotape of, I think it was like Tongues Untied, something like a video that I had heard Marlon Maddox on Christian radio talk about how awful this homosexual video was. And just happened to heard about that. Okay, yeah, this guy's definitely homosexual. Well, it was either that night or the next night. I went home and I read the newspaper, and his name was in the newspaper. He had just told his congregation that he had AIDS. And it was due to some past experiences that he had. He kind of pushed it off to the past. Well, I knew that even then he was in a homosexual relationship. But thought that was very interesting, kind of coincidental. How in the world, But yeah, there's lots. There's lots of it even in clergy, unfortunately. But it's definitely an issue. We have the issue of gay marriage. In our culture, I guess we've already kind of lost the battle in regards to homosexual behavior, as far as it being legal, accepted. I don't know if you remember when some of the sodomy laws were overturned. You can't enforce any of those laws anymore. It's kind of a non-issue. Now the battle is, what about marriage? What is the definition of marriage? So we'll talk about that. But first, let me give you an argument for homosexuality. Okay? Let me play the devil's advocate a little bit, just for the sake of discussion here. Give you a presentation that a homosexual might present, suggesting that, no, this is a good thing, this is a a biblical thing, and, we shouldn't have a problem with it. Okay, so number one here. This sin of Sodom that you think, you guys, you fundamentalists out there, you think the sin of Sodom was homosexuality. Well, it wasn't. It was inhospitality. Okay, if you read the scripture, there was a Canaanite custom that guaranteed the protection of those coming under one's roof. Well, this wasn't happening. People were angry with Lot for lodging the two visitors. You see, and so they were inhospitable. So that's why they were judged. Number two, heterosexuality is unnatural for homosexuals. Let me give you a proof text for that. Romans 1:26. He spoke about doing that which is unnatural. What he meant was that heterosexual activity is unnatural for homosexuals. So it would be wrong, if you naturally are homosexual, then it would be wrong for you to behave in a heterosexual manner. Then you guys just twist the scriptures. I can't believe you guys do that. Okay. David and Jonathan, they were homosexual. Remember, they kissed each other. Jonathan stripped in David's presence. Jonathan loved David. That's proof right there. Next, consenting adults should have no sexual constraints. What two persons do sexually and freely is their own business. And why do you think you can restrict their behavior? A person has the right to do with his body what he chooses. And the right to privacy protects homosexuality. The Supreme Court says a woman has the right to privacy over her own body. If a woman has rights over her sexual processes, then homosexuals should have the right over their own sexual processes. Sexual tendencies are inherited. Now this is a biggie. People are born that way. If you're born that way, how dare someone try to change you? It'd be like, I'm born with a certain color of eyes, and so, that's wrong. You can't condemn me for my natural orientation any more than you condemn me for being short or being black if I'm black. People are born the way that scientists have proven that homosexuality is genetic. And then homosexuals have civil rights too. We're a minority group, just like other minority groups. And if you deprive us of our constitutional rights just because of our sexual preferences, you are discriminating. And discrimination is the worst sin. It's morally wrong to discriminate. And then other mammals are homosexual too. Nature must sanction this because other animals practice it. It's just part of the process of evolution. You probably didn't even know that other mammals were homosexual, did you? Well, they are. And then lastly, 10% of the population is gay. That is a significant minority. And it must be recognized that homosexuals, as this significant minority, has rights. Homosexuals aren't strange. It's natural. We're part of the population. And you shouldn't discriminate because of how homosexuals, the orientation that people have. They're born that way.